Hi everyone, my name's Matthew Kanizay and I'm back here today for another fireside chat with David Herbert, who is a business development manager at TAL Insurance. David, good afternoon.
Good
How
afternoon,
are you
Matthew.
today? And would you like to tell me a bit about yourself and your role firstly?
Yeah, sure. First of all, this may come as a surprise to you, I don't know, but I've been in the industry for a very long time. And in actual fact, 3 weeks ago, I completed 50 years in the industry.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
thank you, thank you. It is a long time, but it's been an amazing journey for me. And obviously, I've seen a lot and learned a lot. And, the change keeps going and it hasn't stopped basically ever since I started back in 1973. So a long, long time ago. The role that I play is what we commonly call as a business development manager. Um, Business development managers are quite essential in most businesses. When it comes to the insurance side of things, it's quite a unique role because the way I look at it is it's like a liaison between two entities. So the company that I work for instance, TAL Insurance, and the advisors that are out there selling the insurance for us. So I would be that liaison between the two. But my role essentially is to develop both businesses, to develop the advisor's business as well as our own business.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you, David. And I guess, yeah, continuing on from that question as well, you've obviously explained already a bit about your current role, but how does it fit more broadly within the advice profession?
Okay. So when I say it's an essential role, it's important because we've got to be as part of the sales team, we've got to actually participate on a daily basis in front of advisors,
Yeah.
to educate them, to get them to understand more about the industry, to get them to understand more about the products, to guide them along the path as to why people need insurance. Most of them come into it with all good intentions, but
Mm.
sometimes they need some guidance and hand holding from business development managers to actually show them the way a little bit. You've got various types of groups of people. Some are larger groups and they're a little bit more self-sufficient. But it's usually when you have the single entities or the smaller groups, they actually need more advice and more support from a business development manager.
Move on to the next question. So, what does your job entail? And I guess what would a typical day look like for you?
Sure. So once again, being in the sales team, we're front on. We've got a target that we need to meet. Every BDM and every life company has got targets, and essentially what we've got to try and do is bring the business in so that we could complete that business and put it on the books. And ultimately, the aim of the game is to get as many Australians insured as possible.
Yeah.
We're all familiar with different types of insurances, whether it's health or car insurance or whatever. This is aimed purely at life insurance. There's different concepts around it as well. But as a BDM, our role is to get out there, create the sales, and basically get advisors to support the products and bring it in. As I said, from their point of view, is they're doing a great job because they actually wanted to look after a client in their times of need, or even their times of grief, because insurance covers a variety of things. It covers life insurance. It covers trauma insurance when somebody might have, for example, a heart attack or cancer. That's a traumatic event, and there's a number of traumatic events that are covered under a product. One of the big ones is what we call income protection. So a lot of people, in fact, most people need income protection. You need to protect your income because your income is paying for everything else in your life. And if you don't protect your income, then it's not the right thing to do because people pay for other insurances and they forget to actually protect their income. But if they had no income, they couldn't pay for anything else.
That's such a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a number of different types of categories of insurance, and our job is to get out there, show advisors what to do and how to sell the products, and ultimately they get a full understanding of it and are able to do it as well. But essentially, our role, as I said, that liaison between the two to be able to write the business, being frontline, and it's not just about writing insurance. We've got to support the advisor as well. So from a back office point of view, yes, we've got our administration teams, we've got our claims teams, etc. But if an advisor needs support in any which way or form, then they can very well come to us. And as I said, we're the front line there. So, we see to all the issues that they have. We might take it back to the office and try and sort it out for them, but essentially we're the front line.
Great. Thanks, David. One more thing before we move on to the next question is, if you could describe your job in just one word, what would that word be?
Magnificent.
Wow, that's a good word.
And the reason I say that is because that's probably one of the reasons why I've stayed in the industry for the last 50 years. It's rewarding as well. It would probably be another word if I had to use it. And when I say that, I mean it in a nice way, from the point of view, not for my reward for me. Yes, from the point of view, I learn stuff and I get to meet a lot of people. And that's why I like the relationship side of the business. But I think where it resonates for me mainly is that I'm helping advisors grow their business and helping Australians actually make sure that they're covered in their time of need. So yeah, overall for me, it's it's been a magnificent industry for me. It's taught me a lot, and I've certainly learned a lot and hopefully contributed some towards it as well.
Great, thanks, David.
That's all right.
Third question that I have for you today is, what influenced your decision to begin a career in the financial services sector?
That's an interesting one, because if I go back, Matthew, when I was 17, when I started in the industry, and to be honest, I didn't really select the insurance industry. I think it selected me. Because what really happened was, as a young 17-year-old, I was looking for a job. I'd come out of school. Actually didn't go to uni. I was looking for a job straight away. And I basically fell into it because I went for, I think, 3 or 4 different interviews at different industries. What I really wanted to do was become a draftsman. And I actually went into an interview as a drafting job. They actually offered me the position. But back in those days, the pay wasn't a lot. I'll tell you something that might surprise you and everyone listening in. But back then, the company that interviewed me, the drafting company, were offering to pay me $34 a week.
Wow, that's not a lot of money.
$34 a week. That's
$34 a week. That's more like, I was expecting to hear kind of $34 an hour, but $34 a week is not very sustainable.
Yes. So that's back in the early 70s. So the second job interview I went to was a company called Norwich Union, which was a life insurance company. And they offered me the job too. And they said they would pay me $54 a week.
Oh, that's a bit of an increase.
$20 was a big difference back in those days. And as a new immigrant to the country, you just come here without basically anything apart from a suitcase. You had to sort of start afresh. So that was the reason why I selected the insurance company. And I've never looked back, to be honest, Matthew. It's been an amazing ride for me. It's been a great journey. And I hope to keep going for as long as possible.
Thanks, David. That's a good bit of background about your story and how you actually fell into the industry too. I think being, as you said, been in the industry now for 50 years is quite a significant amount of time. So congratulations to you as well on that.
Thank you.
David, the next question that I have for you is, what is your favorite part of the job?
Okay, I've thought about this long and hard over the years, and it's actually come to me every time with the same answer, and that answer is relationships. It's an enjoyment that you get when you go out and meet new people, when you start to deal with them in a way where you're building trust and rapport, so that you place that trust in them, they place their trust in you, because you're coming out there to represent an insurance company. And they want you to deliver. So if you can build that rapport and deliver on what you promise, then that helps build the relationship. And I think that speaks a lot for itself, because it gets to the point where the relationship is so strong that I don't even have to ask for the business. Advisors know that I will support them and I will help them in their need along the journey. And that helps you actually develop your own side of the business. So that's something I've learned over the years. And I still believe relationship is the number one thing for me.
Hmm. And I think I'd agree from that, particularly as a new entrant into the financial advice services profession. It feels like it is a very relationship-based industry, and you kind of, one person knows the next person, and you kind of all know each other from there, really.
Yeah, very true. And if I could just add to that, I mean, it's probably getting a little bit more difficult these days because everyone is getting used to virtual reality, so to speak.
Yeah.
I still find, and I love doing this, especially the first time I go and see somebody or I'm being introduced to somebody, I do like to do it face to face.
Yeah.
There's nothing like shaking hands with somebody and putting a face to a name and actually sitting down and having a bit of a chat, whether it's over a coffee or it's in an office somewhere. It doesn't really matter. But I think you need to do the first appointment face to face. And beyond, I still offer face to face every time, but I leave it up to the advisors to choose if they want to do it that way or virtually these days.
Yeah. No, I think that, nothing can kind of replace that human interaction and connection, particularly meeting someone for the first time.
It does. And again, that stems the relationship. If you start with that,
Yeah.
I think that just it becomes a strong root and you basically grow from there.
David, the last question I have for you today, where do you see opportunities for new entrants in relation to the insurance sector?
Well, it's a great question, and I see huge opportunities. And the reason I say this is probably more than twofold. Number one, we are a shrinking industry.
Mm.
And there are a lot of advisors out there who like being part of the financial services industry, but a lot of them like doing investments, superannuation, look after people who are retired and look after their money, et cetera, et cetera. Where we're lacking space, and this is where the huge opportunity lies for new entrants coming into it, is on the insurance space.
Mm.
We are a nation that is very much underinsured. We've got a gap of knowledge now because a lot of the old advisors have either retired or they've left the industry for one reason or another. The banks are out of it now, so they're not doing insurance any longer.
Yeah.
So there's a number of reasons why we've lost a lot of good planners along the way. Migration is up. There's going to be more people coming to live in Australia. So the need for insurance is much greater. So many people out there have mortgages and perhaps aren't fully covered in the event of something unforeseen happening, and they might lose their mortgage or their home altogether. So it's important that we get new entrants coming into this. Furthermore, if I can just mention the company I work for, TAL, we've also got a graduate program whereby if there is somebody who's completing their graduation at Deakin or wherever the case may be, and they're looking to move into the financial services industry, we can actually get them a place. We've got a certain number of places every year that we advertise, and they can come and do a grad program for 12 months. I think they sit in 3 or 4 different areas of the business, and then we try to find them a position perhaps in the area that they like to do. They don't have to stay. They can then move on and perhaps become an advisor or work with an advisor to start off with. But I see it as a huge opportunity, as I said, for more than one reason, because we need people and the opportunities do exist. Lots of advisors who've left the industry or leaving the industry are looking for successors. They want somebody to come in and take over their business. So yes, I do believe that the opportunity is quite large in the insurance space.
Yeah, and I think it was at the Melbourne Financial Advice Association roadshow as well. I heard that about over 16,000 financial planners and advisors. There's only about 1,200 who actually do provide risk insurance advice. And I think talking to you as well, it sounds like there may even be less than that. So it sounds like there's a massive gap and an opportunity in the market for new entrants.
There is, and out of the 1,200, there's only 750 that actually actively work in the insurance space.
Wow, that's not many at all.
That's not many at all. And some advisors or practices actually need specialized risk advisors. Because we talk about selling insurance to mums and dads, but it goes beyond that. You actually can do business insurance,
Yeah.
where you're covering partnerships in businesses if something happens to one partner against the other. So the opportunities are massive. Business insurance is still an untapped market in this country. I think Monash University did a study a few years back, and they said that only less than 25% of businesses have got a succession plan. So,
that's pretty
which is
scary.
scary. So more than 75% don't have a succession plan. So if something happens to one partner, yes, it could be trouble for the business.
Yeah. I think that is all we have time for today, David. Thank you again for joining us on the FAAA Fireside Chat.
That's a pleasure, Matthew, and thank you for giving me the chance to speak today. And I hope I've shared some knowledge. And I do wish everyone well who's going to listen to this and perhaps looking at moving into this world. I do wish you well, but yeah, the opportunities are great, and I wish you luck.